Heather McDonald has got the juiciest scoop. When you're on the road, when you're on the go, Juicy Scoop is the show to know. She talks Hollywood tales, her real life Mr. Segment serial data and serial sister. You'll be addicted and addicted fast to the #1 tabloid real life podcast. Listen in, listen up. Whoop whoop. Heather McDonald, Juicy Scoop.
Hello and welcome to Juicy Scoop. So much Juicy Scoop happened. Starting with, I went to the Vanderpump Dog Gala on Thursday night. It was a blast. Go to my Instagram, look at all the photos, the videos. It was really the most fun I've had at her event to date. There was a lot of stuff that evolved in rumors and things that happened over the weekend involving Vanderpump. One being that Ariana and Lala were together Thursday night. Not true. Ariana was not able to attend. Lala was hanging out with me in a skimpy red sequins dress, and as we both were. And they also said that Lala and Ariana stopped following Lisa Vanderpump. They weirdly never followed Lisa Vanderpump, and Lisa Vanderpump never followed them. I think it's actually kind of strange, but I guess maybe they didn't really care for each other's content, and they like each other in real life. Anyway, that wasn't true. But I'm going to get into all things Vanderpump in a second. I just want to remind you guys that this weekend I will be at the Venetian in Las Vegas doing a live Juicy Scoop with Chris, Justin, and Spencer. And get your tickets at heathermcdonald.net. There are still a few tickets left. If you could not see me live, you have the opportunity to watch the Moment House live stream starting at 8:30 on Saturday night, and then you can watch it for 72 hours after that. Once that 72 hours are up, it's gone. There's no way you can buy it. I'm never posting it anywhere else. It's going to be so funny, so juicy, and you can get those tickets to stream it in the comfort of your own home at heathermcdonald.net. The Randall Scandal documentary that I'm part of, I have not seen yet. It just dropped this morning on Hulu. But according to a Juicy Scooper, I'm in it. It's good. It's juicy. It's sad. It's devastating. I have to see it, and I will discuss that on Wednesday. And who knows what I'm doing or saying, but apparently I look okay and sound okay. Okay, moving on. The Vanderpump reunion. I'm going to take you through some of the things. So we see Tom at their home with Ariana. And a lot of people wondered what was up with his eye. They're like, I thought the rumor was that Sheena hit Raquel, not that she hit Tom. Other people believe that that is an injection mark from getting his under eyes filled. Being that he doesn't say he's having a midlife crisis. He said, when I turned 40, I had a spiritual awakening, in which I thought, I have to break up with Ariana. I'm not happy. But in the meantime, before I could get the balls to break up with Ariana, Raquel and I became such good friends. And then we kissed one night, and she woke up something inside of me that said, you know what, Tom, just because you're 40, your life isn't over. This girl likes you. You should keep screwing her and just stay in a relationship with Ariana. This, you know what is the whole thing? And then I'm going to go through it. What makes this so juicy? And I actually did an interview that's going to be, I think, at the end of the week on this show called Impact, which is also on ABC and Hulu. But I talk about why this is such a phenomenon in our culture and why everyone that was never into Vanderpump Rules before is into it. And it's because everybody of a certain age knows at least one person, hopefully not themselves, but at least one person in which the boyfriend or the husband cheated with the woman's good friend, sister, best friend, someone she knew, coworker, that she would go there and the secretary was nice to her face. Everybody knows this situation. To actually be able to sit and watch it as it's happening and watch it back for the people that were actually part of it can watch it back. I mean, you always wonder when you look back on a memory like, God, was this the way I remembered it? I wish I had cameras here. They literally do. And that is why we can't get enough of it. He says to her, you know, you should have known. Why didn't you follow me? If you would have, she goes, every time you said you were at Schwartz, you said you were at Schwartz. And that's when I know that you were FaceTiming her now, because she said, I got the phone and I saw in his camera roll. I always thought that she saw a text exchange between them in which he saved a FaceTime mutual masturbation scene between them. I thought it was on a text message. No, she said she looked in his camera roll and saw that he had videos of them being intimate with each other on a FaceTime in which he was at Schwartz's house. So she goes, so all those times you were at Schwartz's, he's like, yeah, if you would have just followed me, you would have known I wasn't at Schwartz's house, but you didn't want to know. You weren't ready to hear it. She comes off so great and explaining how much she is hurt, how she would have followed him to the end of the earth, how she supported him when he had nothing. And so the only thing he kind of has going for him in any kind of defense is that he says we weren't that intimate for the last 4 or 5 years. Yet they bought a house together and relationships change. And I think she just thought they were going through a vibe and they were in it till the end. And since they were getting along when they were together, I don't think she thought it was a problem. And she certainly didn't think that he was screwing her best friend, Raquel. So she comes off absolutely great. And she's like, do you have anything else you want to say to me before we never talk again? And so then he goes over to Schwartz as his best friend. And as I'm having Drake help me screen grab some of these moments, Drake says to me, my son, he goes, Why is this guy so upset? Why is he crying? I go, because no one wants to go to their bar anymore because his friend cheated on his girlfriend of 9 years and they're all friends. And now he looks like a douche by association. And he does say, look at our reviews, man. Like, who's going to want to go to Schwartzy's, Sandy and Schwartzy's? And some of these reviews from Yelp are hilarious. It says a disgrace to the strip mall that it lives in. Red Lobster has better decor. By the way, Red Lobster is delicious if you've ever been. Then don't go over here. Found a cockroach in my pasta. Hashtag not about the pasta. Hey guys, I want to introduce you to Seed. It is DS-01 Daily Symbiotic. It's a probiotic and a prebiotic all in one. You get the pro and pre in one pill right here. And I'll be honest, I never really understood what probiotics did, what it was for, how it helps you. Well, now I do because I've been using Seed for about a month and I've noticed a huge difference. What it does is that their vial cap delivery technology ensures that these live probiotics survive the harsh journey through your digestive system, reaching their destination, which is your colon. Yes, my bowel movements are better. I have better energy. Some other great benefits are my skin is more glowy all over my body. All of this. I'm so glad I've gotten into this. I want you guys to do it. Also, I love their packaging. It's renewable. It's energy efficient. It's fully recyclable. It's even the box that it comes in is biodegradable and even edible. I mean, it's amazing. And then you refill it and you can use this jar. And I also really love that it comes with this little cutie for when I travel and I put the pills in there. No plastic bag needed. Right now, go to www.seed.com and get 30% off your first month supply of Seed's DS-01 Daily Symbiotic by using code JUICY at checkout. Again, that's code JUICY for 30% off your first month. You will love it. Then people start coming over to console Ariana. It truly is what people experience after they lose a loved one. And Scheana and Katie have fought all season long because Katie thought that, because Scheana thought Katie was being awful to Raquel because Raquel was supposedly trying to hook up with Schwartz. Now we all realize that was all a cover. She was really hooking up with Sandoval. So Scheana kept defending Raquel and Schwartz, and therefore Scheana and Katie really hadn't talked for like the last 6 months since Sheena's wedding. So they come in and Scheana says, I hope that we can put our differences aside. He goes, it doesn't matter right now. And this was one of the best memes I saw from I Am Not Corey. Katie and Scheana showing up at Ariana's house to support her, and it's the Crips and the Bloods holding their bandanas together from like the 90s. Amazing, hilarious. I will say there's in all the juiciness, there's so much funniness. And a lot of it comes from DJ James Kennedy. So then they go over to DJ James Kennedy's house, and he actually calls Raquel because they used to be engaged. And she answers the phone, and he's like, how's it going? And she's like, fine, what's going on with you? I mean, it's just unbelievable how unfazed this girl is from what we see and what we hear. And he's like, oh, you lost all your friends, all the friendships that you made for Sandoval's cocky cock, for his 40-year-old cocky cock. I mean, it's hilarious. And the girls and Lala and his girlfriend Allie and Katie are like holding back laughter. And then she's like, don't be mad. And he's like, well, you're not the brightest thing, and this certainly proves it. And she's like, you know what? And she's always been like an odd bird. And she's always kind of been like, I'm sorry that people find that upsetting to them. I'm just trying to have a puppy party, and I'm sad that nobody wanted to come. And, Lala has accused her of not being too bright, in which then fans were like, stop being mean about this girl's intelligence. It's very weird, and it's very weird that she has absolutely no remorse, and there's some really disturbing moments in which she is smiling at odd times. So Sandoval comes over to her place, in which the dog Graham is all over Sandoval. Very thrilled to see this person. Well, we know because this has been their fuck pad for the last 7 months. She lives alone. Every time he'd go, say, I've got band practice or I'm going to the whatever, every time he was lying to Ariana, he was going over there to hang out with Graham and Raquel. So that says a lot. Also, people notice that at one point in their exchange, she seems to grab a little baggie and put it in her pocket. I went through it. I saw the grabbing of the baggie. It's impossible to know what that little baggie is, if it was trash, if it was something of what. But right when they get together, they each have a shot and crack open a Coors Light. And I do believe Coors Light is a sponsor of Vanderpump Rules. So I do think that part of their redemption, which we will see in this, reunion, might be we drank too much together. We partied too much together. Alcohol and drugs played a role in our horrible behavior. I think that's it's a little bit of Days of Wine and Roses, like they're bad for each other, and they probably, drinking or doing even other kinds of, recreational drugs might have been part of the high of cheating and getting together. She has one of these claw clips in the back of her head. And as much as I dislike Raquel right now, I just saw a very important TikTok. Girls, when you've ever had a claw clip in your head right here in the back of your head and you're driving and you realize, it's kind of uncomfortable because I can't rest my head back on my seat. I just saw this beautiful girl do a TikTok and say that because she had that in her head, when she got in her car accident, she broke her back because the head couldn't go back. So girls, never drive with a claw clip in your hair. Okay? You can thank Raquel for this one, because I had not seen this. Well, obviously the TikTok girl, but I'm just reminding you, take it out of your hair until you get to your next destination, or honestly, don't wear them at all. Okay, so she's smiling a lot. She's like, we said if we didn't think it was worth it, we wouldn't do this. And then he goes, let me see this, where she says that Scheana punched her. And there's a little scratch where she brushes up her eyebrows so you can see the scratch. And she's like, it doesn't feel good. It kind of hurts. And Scheana, who then gets a restraining order from her, which has now come out, Sandoval is now saying, in the last couple of weeks to Scheana, this was all her family. This was like a Britney Spears situation. And they encouraged her to get this restraining order against you, which eventually she dropped. And Scheana goes, I couldn't punch you. Look how long my nails are. They don't make a punch. It was her, if the glove don't fit, you must have quit, Johnny Cochran moment about OJ. And Scheana was just, if I can't punch it, the hoe's a hoe. I don't know. I can't think of a rhyme, but it was pretty amazing. And then he talks about her and he misses Raquel's name for Ariana. Also not a great sign. And then she said, I have to ask myself, do I want to give up everything? If you cheated on a girl that you love like Ariana, could you cheat on me? And he's like, no, there was something here. Okay, so then we leave this. Now we go, and she's in her confessionals in this blue dress, which I don't understand because we saw so many confessionals of her in this blue dress talking about all different things, and I don't have the time to put it together. But I do have a question for the sleuths or the Vanderpump specialists, though I think I'm one. But they ask her about the affair in this. So did she get back in this outfit, or were all these confessionals done post the affair? Because they say after this filming, she never came back until the reunion. She turned off her phone and disappeared for about, I don't know, a month probably until the reunion. So I don't see the scratch here. The scratch is healed. When was this reunion, this confessional done is my question. She's in the blue dress and Raquel says, I don't know. I just wanted to know what it would be like to have sex with someone I really loved. I was just curious. So, when you're curious, you're curious. And I just couldn't resist Tom. I loved him as a friend, so I wanted to see what it would be like to have sex with him. I'm just like, oh my God, it's so weird. Like, I saw that Ariana was his girlfriend and she had sex with him. So I'm like, I want to try that too. It's not a fucking smoothie. Like, oh, my friend had that acai berry smoother and she liked it. I'm curious, can I try that acai smoothie as well? I like acai. Would I like it in a smoothie? I'm just curious. Ugh! Okay, moving on. Lisa Vanderpump, down to be the counselor. Ariana comes over. One thing interesting here is she says, none of us were suspicious. She goes, I have to tell you, Ariana, none of us suspected a thing. Absolutely flabbergasted. Now we see when Ken scuffles into the kitchen when Katie's making sandwiches and says, can you believe Sandoval had Raquel over at his house in the jacuzzi when Ariana wasn't there? Goodbye, Katie. And then he scuffles off. So they threw that scene in. So was she not curious then? Was she not suspicious then? Was that a clip that was maybe filmed later? I don't know, or did she not even remember that she had that moment when she was consoling Ariana? Probably that. Then Schwartz and Katie talk. Schwartz comes over for one of the greatest lines ever, where she calls him out on his shit. She's like, I know you're lying because at BravoCon, when Raquel was wearing the two Tom shirts, I go, she's like a little groupie because she wants to get with you. And he goes, trust me, I'm not the one that sweatshirt's for. So she goes, so back in November, you knew something was going on. He goes, well, back in September, I knew they had a one-night stand, but then I didn't know it was continuing. She's like, listen, you can't even keep your lies straight. You've been his bitch boy forever. He's like, I'm not his bitch boy. I'm just his business partner. And then he goes, look, I'm just a dude trying to get through life, thinking about my health, my wealth, and my family. And there's a man-eating crocodile in Florida. And Katie goes, you sound like you're singing a country song. These are the moments that are so genuinely hilarious and real life and just makes us all feel like we're part of this group. So brilliant there. Ariana gets so many flowers, it truly is like a wake. And Kristen comes over. Kristen was the original girlfriend of Tom Sandoval when the show started 13 years ago. And she said he was a cheater. And in fact, he cheated on Kristen with Ariana. And she said Ariana can have him. And she can wonder about who he's cheating with, where he is when he doesn't come home, what he's lying about. He's the world's best liar. She can have him. So there you go. But they've been friends for years. And Ariana wanted Kristen to come on the show and do this scene with her and let the world know that they are good, that Kristen's not getting any joy or satisfaction in knowing that Ariana is so hurt because Kristen truly is a good person and really supports her girlfriends. But, this is amazing. Tom goes over to the window and cries, not because it was raining for the 7th day in a row in LA, which is something we never experienced back in March, but because he just can't believe he blew up his life like this. A lot of people think this is really horrible acting. Some people think it's good acting. But I think we can all agree it's acting. He cries. Of course, Lisa has to console him. She goes, you're not a bad person, Tom. You just did a bad thing. And that is going to be the question going forward in the seasons in the future and the filming. Can his cast members be convinced that he's not a bad person, but he did a bad thing? Or are they forever going to think he's 100% a bad, selfish, narcissistic person? And looking back at everything, even Ariana goes, I miss him, but I feel like what I missed wasn't even real. Like, who was this person? And it was brought to my attention, too, in all the comments that I've read. Remember when Ariana and Katie were going to meet with Randall back when we thought Randall was a good person to invest in the something about her sandwich shop, and Ariana was very late, and Randall was like, wow, this is a real turnoff. I don't know if I want to invest in something where someone's so late. And she said, I'm so sorry, but Sandoval planned to have a financial meeting about our refinancing our house, and he scheduled it for the exact same time that I'm supposed to meet you. That is a narcissistic move. That is something that a narc does, like short for narcissistic, does to their partner. And then they're like, sorry, how was I supposed to know? Well, because I told you, meaning like your business isn't as important as mine. And I almost want to sabotage your business by making these things seem like they are organically like a fuck up, but they actually were planned out. Kind of interesting to think about. Ariana tells Tom Schwartz, I cannot be friends with anybody who is friends with Tom Sandoval. So even though we had a really close friendship, she was the one woman who was a best man in his wedding. She's like, we're done. I can't trust you if you remain friends with him. Then we have the closer, Sheena, raw and crying. She's been friends with Sandoval for 14 years. She says when it was all revealed and they're on the phone, he says our friendship wasn't real. He apologizes for that. He's like, look, I tried to break up with Ariana. She didn't want to hear it. She said she was going to end her life. And then Sheena goes, if that was the case, then you get her mother and her brother and you get us and we pick up the pieces, but you don't fuck her best friend. I don't understand why guys are always so afraid or reluctant or procrastinate breaking up with girls. They either act like such a mean dick so that they get you to break up with them, or they cheat, or they make you think that you're going crazy because they are cheating. And when they question it, they're like, what's wrong with you? Ariana said in an interview that she was suspicious, and she'd go, let me see your phone. And she'd look at his phone. He'd hand the phone right over, and there was nothing in there for her to see. So when the phone fell out the night that she found out, there was something that just told her, look again. And she didn't go to the text messages because I guess she'd been looking at texts and there was never any evidence. She went to the camera roll, which is a weird thing to go to. And that's where she found this all out. They also say, he and Raquel also said that their plan was not to go to the reunion with this deception going on, because that would have been terrible to have Ariana continue to defend their relationship, in which Katie and Lala were suspicious of, on the reunion. But of course, this came out a couple days before the reunion was planned or like a week before the reunion was planned to even be filmed. So my question is, I don't believe that. I believe the plan was, let's do the reunion. Let's keep the secret going. Then once the reunion is over, we're on hiatus. Then I'll break up with Ariana, and then you and I can start to date, and the world will just have to accept that two single people that are in the same friends group have decided to date. And it will be weird, but it'll be after we've broken up and Ariana is in a better place and has accepted it. That is what the plan was. They were going to try to take this to their grave. Now, the latest rumors are that people believe that because Alex, the producer of the show, said after the reunion, we are going to take a break. We're not going to pick up cameras when we planned, because there is some stuff that's going to come out in the reunion that we want the cast to be able to absorb and take a minute before we recast and decide who is coming back. Ariana has said, I will absolutely not film with Tom Sandoval or Raquel ever again. So people now say there's rumors that Raquel's sister has told someone that she is in fact pregnant, hanging out at her grandma's house. This all came out, TikTok people, and no real evidence of it. Could that be the case? Possibly. Could it be that now they know, the rest of the cast didn't know that she did a private interview after the show, and so did Tom after the reunion? What is told in this private interview? Is it, like I said, drug and alcohol related? Is it, I'm pregnant? Is it, I was pregnant and that's why I disappeared for the month, and also all this trauma caused me not to be pregnant anymore? I don't know. There would be no way for anybody to know, just like nobody knew, if Britney Spears was really pregnant. I know this is a controversial thing to say, but I never thought Britney Spears was pregnant, but there's no way to know. But would that garner some sympathy from the cast, and would that garner some sympathy from the audience in order to allow Raquel to come back on the show, or at least to allow Tom to come back on the show? I don't know, or it could all just be a dumb rumor. It has nothing to do with this. They just want this to settle in, and time heals all wounds, and get the cast to believe that Tom is not just a bad person. He just did a bad thing, Tom Sandoval. Because, of course, Lisa Vanderpump and Tom Schwartz and the producers will want Tom Sandoval to come back next season. Absolutely. To keep this intrigue going and these complex relationships to keep going, where we can watch in fascination. And so those are all the things. Let me see if there's anything else. Also, someone walked by something about her sandwich shop. It is almost done. It looks really nice. I still think a better title would have been The Better Halves. And you get a half a sandwich, a soup and salad combo. Somebody told Ariana that at a meet and greet she liked it, but it is going to be something about her. And at this point, I would stick with the name because now we all know that name. But if anybody else wants to take that idea, feel free. Also, major scoop that I've known for a long time, but now that it's out there, this is from the Bravo Lowdown. Two people have become IG official, and that is Gage and Scott, who are both former long-term boyfriends of Jeff Lewis. And the reason it's out there is because they became IG official. They are a couple. And I just related to everything comes back to Vanderpump Rules. These are imagine your two exes fall in love. Now, in Ariana's case, it was her, ex-best friend and, her best friend and her boyfriend got together, right? But she wasn't sleeping with Raquel. Raquel and her were not a full-blown relationship. So only in a gay relationship could this happen, where both your exes that you were both in love with actually get together, and now they are in love, which I think is a lot to take. And just been dealing with this for a while. It's been out if you follow him for a while, but now they've made themselves IG official. They posted this themselves. They were at a dad event, and it's just a lot, because even in the Meghan King Edmonds situation, yes, she brought a girl in and they had a threesome, and then that girl from the threesome married her husband, but she wasn't in love with that girl, and they didn't have a long-term relationship. So this is the only time that I could really think of. I know it happens with lesbians too, but to think that you had two exes and you talked about them, with your new boyfriend, and then they are now together and, supposedly happy. It's a lot to take, and wish, Monroe and everybody that's involved their best. Hello and welcome to Juicy Scoop. I have returned guests, the hosts of Hollywood Raw, Dax and Adam. Welcome back, cuties.
Thank you. Thanks for having us back.
Well, let's get into it. Being that you guys are former paparazzi, TMZ, the whole thing. What are your thoughts on the Meghan and Harry alleged chasing through the streets of New York, which are never crowded and are very easy to do in a 2.5-hour chase? We've heard the one cab guy said, I didn't see any paparazzi, but they seemed scared. Another person said, no, absolutely, they're terrified. Another person said, had they not been so cheap to just get a nearby hotel and they weren't trying to get a, couch surf on their friend's house like they had to do with, who was the Tyler Perry? Like they had to do with Tyler Perry, just couch surf on friends' couches, that this wouldn't have happened. So what scoop do you have?
My friends are the ones who are the paparazzi following her. Okay. So I talked to them this morning. I talked to them the day. I called Dax. Dax hit me up and told me.
I hit you up the first. I was like, what the hell happened?
And then I called my
what
friends,
really
and then I was like, yeah, this story is not sounding right. And this is before people started to question this whole 2-hour chase. So I talked to my friends. I talked to.
I just have to say, one of the things I saw was like, they were calling it like Harry Smollett and Megan Hurd.
That's good.
That's awesome.
That's actually a good line.
Yeah, go on.
So it did go about 2 hours. That's the crazy part. But the thing is, there's a difference between a chase and a follow. Chase is like the OJ chase, where it's
right.
like, that's where it's like, come on, those are two different words. If I follow the person for 2 hours, it's not as bad as a chase. Here's where it started.
Can I just ask? My question of it was, they were all on the red carpet. There's plenty of photos of them together with their mother. They all looked gorgeous. She wasn't out like Princess Diana with a new lover that we didn't know a lot about. She wasn't like cheating on him. They weren't recently divorced. It wasn't like we'd never seen her mother before. Why getting a photo of them going to their friend's house, or why would that have been of value when we already saw them at this event? Like in the Diana situation, she was leaving a restaurant. Was she going to marry this Muslim billionaire, which was controversial at the time? Like, there was a lot of interest, and she was Princess Diana, and that was a time of paparazzi chasing people. Why would this even occur in 2023?
Well, photos of them sell. At the end of the day, they do sell.
Okay.
And so I think you have that combined with they snuck in, like the back entrance. So the Paps wouldn't necessarily get the photos. Maybe the Getty photographers, they would get the inside shots, but the outside shots didn't get taken.
Okay.
So I think that kind of strums up we need to get the shot, which they know the game. The game is, if you just give them the shot, they'll probably leave you alone.
Okay.
But they didn't give them the shots, and so it makes it more exciting for the photographers to get those shots outside.
Yeah. Okay.
And, hey, where are they going to go? What they're going to do next? All of that translates into money at the end of the day. That's why.
They knew, the photographers knew, they were told by the security saying, hey, they're going to come out, they're going to give you guys the shot going in. Okay. So the guys waited hours for them to come. Then they went in through the back entrance, and they went through Hertz to go into the Ziegfeld. So the guys are already pissed off. So now they're going to wait even longer because they think they're going to get the shot on the way out, which the funniest part is they have the security guy. Did you see his nickname? He's known as the backdoor expert, the backdoor king. Somehow they had some security
like
guy.
Else.
Yeah, right? I was like, that's a weird nickname to put on your LinkedIn,
Yeah.
So it's so they snook them out on the way out, and that's when the paparazzi said, fuck it, we're going to follow, because they didn't get the shots. They're pissed off. But the security was not being dicks to the paparazzi already. They were talking down to them, almost antagonizing them. From the guys who I talked to that were there, I've been on like the reality TV show sets. They said, looking back, it felt like you're on a set. Like sometimes I've been on like The Housewives, where they want the paparazzi there to be on the side shooting on the show.
To look like what their life is like.
And they want you to act up. They want you to go crazy. And they thought it was seemed like looking back, it just seemed weird that they were trying to antagonize us a little bit.
Yeah.
So about 3 cars followed, and there's 3 guys on bikes. They started following, and
motorcycles?
Bicycles, electric scooter type, electric bikes type thing. Not motorcycles per se.
But the kind you can rent on the side, right?
Yeah, I mean they're not like.
Okay.
There was actually probably some guy on a bicycle, but like electric type bicycles.
Okay.
You know what I mean? They started following the cars, and it wasn't a high speed chase because you can't go.
Right.
You can't fly. The cars there was no close accidents. They were making like illegal turns. I mean, when I mean illegal turns, that was the chase car, which was Meghan and Harry.
Okay.
I've been involved in some of these follows. Their car, the celebrity's car, is the one who basically
dictates
the speed of what's going to go. If they go 90, we're going to go 90. If they go 20, we're going to go 20. Because, I mean, I don't do this often, but that's just what it was. They weren't flying, but they were doing illegal turns. They were going on one ways just to get away from everyone. However, it seemed like the entire time they were filming it, on their phone, or just trying to enjoy
Who
these.
was filming it?
Harry was filming on his phone.
Oh, or just to prove what the trauma I've been through? Or?
Exactly. Here's the interesting part that was going on. One of the people of Harry and Meghan's security ordeal was a New York City cop that was just doing a side job.
Right.
Don't you think that was going on for so long, they would say, hey, this is what we need to do. Let's go to a police precinct, or hey, let's go to garage. And it's weird that guy didn't speak up and say, hey, this is what we should do.
My thing is, I've been a huge supporter of them through a lot of this, and been on their side. And this was, I think, the first time that I was like, this feels like you're just really pleading for sympathy. Like you're invoking your mother's name, and you need the attention. And so I was really kind of disappointed, because I'm like, I know a lot of these people in New York. I know how the paparazzi work out there. in Hollywood, you try to make the paparazzi look bad, but there's a symbiotic relationship between stars and paparazzi and keeping them relevant. I get all that. This, though, I felt like you're bringing up Princess Diana's name to get the sympathy of the world or the public.
Right.
It didn't seem right. Because, again, how are you doing a 2-hour pursuit through the streets of New York? Whenever I'm there, it's like crawling through the streets of Manhattan.
And also, when you watch their Netflix doc, it was so much of like, are they still following us? They'd have those scenes that they're filming and like acting like it's so. I honestly, if they walked into a restaurant, obviously I'm in the business, so I'm not going to be as excited as someone else. But I just feel like if they walked into a restaurant tomorrow, like, I don't think the world would care that much.
People still care. People care about him. But I think my thing would be, I'm like, you guys need help with your media training because you are failing at every milestone here. I'm like, call me. I will tell you what to do differently because you keep fucking it up over and over. So what should they do?
What's your advice?
Number one, I think you just need to own up to a lot of the shit that you've been doing. I think people really appreciate transparency and like just being real. And I feel like we're not getting the real side of them right now.
You mean there's no way they're going to sit down and be
but
like,
that's
I
what
need
they
to tell
need.
you, Oprah.
That's what they need because people are seeing the bullshit and they're going, I don't like him because I'm seeing the bullshit. I think if they were to be honest and own up to the things that they've done wrong and just say, hey, this is what it is. And yeah, I may not want to be in the monarchy because of this, this, and this, but that's okay. And just
they're not going to be honest because they're not even honest with each other as a couple.
And that's why they need me as a media trainer.
Well, I'm just saying they're not. I don't think even when they're laying in bed at night and no one's around, I don't think they're like strategizing 100% together being honest.
He's not.
I think that she, like, my opinion is that she, like, I think there's a love there and stuff, but I don't even know that they've been totally honest with each other in this whole relationship and what they want and where they are. And I think she's realizing, like, we got all these huge deals, but we're not equipped to do them. We have like imposter syndrome. Like, what does he know about content and stuff? Like, he told his story. Okay, what else is there?
It's funny because I look at it, I feel like love is the only thing that they have at this point. That's, like, they don't really have anything else. Everything else is kind of crumbled around them.
Right.
But I feel like the thing that's keeping them together is they got the love, they got the kids, and that's all that they know what to do with.
Have we thought
a lot of people are family, though.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people in love and have a family. I know a lot of people have now made a career out of, like, we're a cute family, but I think America's getting tired of that, too.
I think
like, you don't deserve a medal just because you're a fucking mother and, like, you guys are cute when you go to Disney. Like, who cares? Like, who cares?
Has anybody ruled out, like, Asperger's or anything like that with him?
Which one?
Well, yeah, that's true. Harry. That's true. Harry, just the thing is he's done. Like, some of the things he's done, where when he wore the outfit for the Halloween, I was like...
He said his brother said to do it.
That was so... I still haven't forgiven him over that one. But then the other... I love the video when he was on the red carpet with the CEO of Disney. And he tries to say, hey, Meghan does voiceovers. And he starts to pitch her when there's a hot mic trying to... like, hey, you should get Meghan some work. And he's like, and it was like, that's not how you network. It was just really weird and like trying to pitch her for work on the red carpet. And
but you're also assuming that he was raised in a normal household that would teach him those moments of when to talk and when not. Like, this kid had not a life that's so unnormal from the rest of us.
Completely unrelatable and everything, which is why you shouldn't try to then be relatable with your chickens.
But they should lean into that. Lean into not being relatable, and it's okay.
Yeah.
Because the public will like it more than you trying to fit in with us when you've lived in castles.
You know what? They missed it. They should have done Simple Life 2.
Exactly.
And they should, like, because I'm always like, what is this next reality show that they committed to 100%. Doing on Netflix? Because they're not going to show any of this stuff. And she's trying to act like, oh, I have to get my 2 kids together in the morning. And it's so difficult because
But Heather, you hit it on the head. If they would have done a Simple Life 2, how their transition from being royal into being normal people and all the pitfalls and ups and downs, people would have liked that.
But I will say the worst thing is they're just not funny.
But if you put him in funny situations, it's not like Paris Hilton is the funniest person.
He's probably funnier than she is. He's probably more charming and funny in a talk show than she is. But good luck to them. Who cares? All right. What do you think about when Nick Lachey's paparazzi thing happened? What's your scoop on that? Of how he did? Because that was so bizarre why he would get so angry and why anyone would care to get a photo of Nick Lachey and his wife out in Beverly Hills at a restaurant. Like, who cares?
I agree. Who cares? But I think he's dealt with the paparazzi for so long. Like, when him and Jessica were like at the height of their fame, they were like the number one target on the planet.
Right, but that was 15 years ago.
I don't think he's let that go yet. I think it's still ingrained in him.
So you think this was him really being angry?
We saw him at a concert in Omaha, Nebraska. Him and 98 Degrees came out. He was the only one that would not talk to fans, literally came out of his car, rushed up to the stage, performed, got off the stage, and ran back to his car. And we were like, who the fuck cares? Like, you can't stop and talk to a bunch of fans that waited all day in the sun to say hi to you. They're literally 5 feet away, and he would run past them.
Yeah,
I think that's who he is.
While the other guys said hi?
Well, all the other guys said hi.
The other performers, there was O-Town, there was
98 Degrees.
TLC, O-Town,
Mark
McGrath. He didn't even talk to the other people on the show. And we found out, I think they got paid, what was it, 50 grand or 10 grand? It was like 40 grand for them to perform for like 30 minutes.
Remember.
Yeah, but it's just like, he definitely had a party a little bit. Like, I mean, he's a Miller Lite guy. I don't know. When this video came out, I was like,
thought he was buzzed?
I think he was definitely buzzed, but it was so unnecessary. But she's also pretty unique as well.
Why? What do you think her deal is?
So I help out with this company, and it's a high-end company, and it's a product.
Okay.
And I don't want to say the product because I don't want people to know that I'm behind it. And I kind of know their Instagram. I help them out with their Instagram, and she DM'd the Instagram account to ask a question about the product, but the way she worded it, it was like she was trying to get this product, but she didn't say she wanted it. But it was like, hey, I'm trying to get my husband this product. Do you guys ship to Hawaii? And it was like, yeah, we do. But I think she was trying to like nudge me a little bit, like, hey, can we get a free one?
She wants it for free? Yeah.
Yeah, she wanted a free one. And it was like, I don't know, something about it just rubbed me.
Can I just ask you approximately how much this product would cost if you're
$10,000.
Okay, well then that is kind of a lot. But I don't think it's bad sometimes when people do say, I like your product, can you help me order some shirts or whatever, and they're like, yeah, let me send you a bunch, because then them posting it is way less expensive to the company than if the company came and said, can we pay you $3,000 to post this? You know what I mean?
True.
But something that high, I don't think it's that bad that she did it, because you could have written back and been like, hey, we might want to work out something, but if we send this to you, we need to have some guarantee that you're going to do 3 stories and a whatever. And she either would have said yes or no, or negotiated, no, I want the product for free and I want another 5 or whatever.
I'd rather her be blunt and say, hey, listen, this is what I want to do. I want to see if you guys want to work out a deal, work out a partnership. But I will say with Nick Lachey, I mean, you're Nick Lachey. You should be happy. You should be ecstatic that someone's taking your photo.
I agree. I totally agree. Okay. What do you think is going on with Kim and Kroy? The latest is that Kim has said something to say, I want him drug tested because I think his marijuana use makes him an unfit parent for our kids. They're both going for full custody or more physical custody than the other. There's a lot of evidence that she's a big boozer. She loves her wine. She'd buy, I just saw a video of where she, said she got $11,000 worth of Opus One, which is very expensive bottles of wine, like $200 a bottle. She loves her Chardonnay and her red cup. So, but she's saying now that he smokes so much pot. I think it's an aggressive move just to, settle the score, because a lot of people were saying that he's the better parent. Probably the show will come into play at some point on evidence on both sides of who's a better or worse parent or whatever. What do you think is going on there? And some people think it's fake. I don't think
I'm having a hard time believing it's real.
Really?
Yeah. And the reason I say that is because, okay, they're already in financial issues. We know the house is being foreclosed on. They owe all this money to the IRS. What is the best way to start making a bunch of money? Heather?
Yes.
It's to get reality television money. And that is if your life is drama, there's everything going on, the cameras want to get it, everyone wants to focus on your marital situation, right?
Well, I mean, I think she's making lemonade out of the sense that she's getting divorced.
Uh-huh.
And she's like because I mean, I would definitely want to see a reality show with her being humbled, with her struggling to keep custody, like with her actually, let's get the cameras in there and like they did with Vanderpump right after it breaks the rawness of it. I don't know if she's doing that right now, but that's the show I'd want to watch. But
you and everyone else, so you want to watch this demise.
I don't believe that the two of them are in cahoots and they're actually madly in love and they're saying, okay, now you file something about me smoking too much pot. Well, I'm going to file that I want full custody from you, Kim. No way is that part fake.
Why are they still living in the same house together?
So are Tom and Ariana. Financial.
I think
financial. And also when you get divorced, if you leave, then they can say you abandoned the minors. So every divorce attorney will say,
waiting for the other person
not
to get
leave. Do not leave the house.
So do you remember Nene allegedly did something very similar back in the day? Had this whole divorce storyline. It was for money purposes. There was a lot of attention around her. I think, listen, this is just my personal opinion.
Right,
I have no idea what's really going on. I just think like it seems weird that they seemed fine like a month ago, and now it's like all hell's broken loose. They're both filing petitions at the same time for divorce. They're living in the same house. I think it's hilarious that she's like, oh, I'm going to have my 45th birthday in the living room, but Kroy's not invited. Like, he's upstairs. What are you talking about? You can't just have a birthday.
Oh, did that just happen this
weekend?
Yes!
She had her birthday party with the kids, and he wasn't invited. Like, what are you going to tell him? Don't come into the kitchen?
And how did we find that out? She did a post about it?
There was a whole story about it. I mean, every aspect there's been a story.
Yeah.
You know, yes, I saw him smoking weed once, so now I want him drug tested. He's now filed back as of this morning saying he wants her mentally evaluated because
online gambling
because he says that she's spending all the money online gambling and has all these like issues.
Okay. I'm just saying I believe all this to be true. I think she's going to try to make lemonade out of lemons as far as let's get a reality show out of it. Let's get some more press out of it. But no, she's done with him. They hate each other. And it's going to be War of the Roses.
How did it go from hate? Like, do you remember a month ago they were fine?
Yeah, but that's always been the persona and like the long, posts about how great my husband is and he's so wonderful. There's been stuff that for years, like I got something sent to me that like someone that worked for them said one day he locked himself in her closet and was taking all of her, was going to take her purses to sell them. And he was getting sick of like the spending. And, then there were stories that they had an open marriage. There were stories that she had somebody else that it's been for a while brewing that they haven't been as, picture perfect as they always appeared to be. And I just think it's just like anything. With women that have a lot of kids and stuff, even if you're not famous, once the youngest kid gets to be about 9, which the twins are 9, and they become more self-sufficient, it's like, and now this guy is not going to play football ever again. The TV opportunities have left. They owe all this money. They start to fight, and she's like, I'm only 45, and I've got, with plastic surgery, another 50 years that I can find another Big Papa, another billionaire like Anna Nicole. Like, I don't need to put up with this dude that's no longer worshiping me. And I think he stopped worshiping her.
Yeah.
And I think she's just like, and now he's like, oh, you think you're going to take these kids away from me? Like, F off. And it is going to be fully, fully ugly. But there's no way they are like snuggling up and kissing each other goodnight.
I've worked in this industry long enough. There's some weird crap goes down. I will say
see who's right.
I put in a couple phone calls. Their friends all believe it's accurate and it's true. These are close friends to them. Are like, no, this is happening. This is happening.
Okay.
I just feel like I've seen some weird stuff in Hollywood with people willing to do anything to stay relevant, to make money.
I'm going to ask you a controversial question. You may have to cut this out.
Okay.
Do you think that the Kim Kardashian robbery was real?
Yes.
Okay.
You don't?
Do you think the Dorit robbery was real?
I don't know. I haven't put in
the Kim one. I think was real.
Kim was real.
Okay.
I don't know about Dorit though.
Dorit, because I mean, Pasquale, who was the bodyguard at the time, like he's no longer working with her.
With Dorit?
No,
with Kim.
Oh.
I
could see why. If you have a bodyguard and you get robbed while the bodyguard's on duty, I don't think I'd want to keep him either.
Yeah, but that changed up everything. Like, that's when they, like, said, oh, we need, like, a team rather than just a bodyguard. Like, it changed up their... That was, like, scary. The Dorit... That one was... I could see some holes in that story.
Yeah.
But the Kim one,
like you've seen the long-lasting effects. Like it wasn't like, oh, we beefed up security for a week,
right,
to like make it look like it was a real story. Like it stayed like that for
Kim.
For Kim.
Yeah.
So I really feel like that freaked her out. That changed everything for her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's a good point. That's a good point. I'm not saying it wasn't. I just sometimes like those things where you say I've seen a lot of weird things.
Yeah.
You know, Jussie Smollett, like, you know, like there's those kind of things that it's like people don't put, you know, fake kidnappings, even with regular people, fake, the woman from, you know, from Petaluma, these people are trying to kidnap my kids, you know, to do her video and go viral of being like a blog mom who's scared. Like people do make up shit that aren't even super famous, you know? So now this came out. Kelly Clarkson is responding to toxic workplace claims from the Kelly Clarkson show staffers. I read this. The comments are hilarious. A lot of it was like, is this just a bunch of Gen Zers that are like, you know,
she's make me work from 9 to 5 Monday through Friday. We don't get Fridays off.
Yeah. We're not getting respect. And, you know, I was ignored once. And like, and I'm like, do you not know what it's like? And it's not, and they're not necessarily saying it's her. They're saying it's like the bosses. But yeah, I thought that was interesting. And now you said they're moving to New York. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, the show's coming to New York.
Why? Do you know?
I don't know. Maybe because it's easier for guests because it's like a hub where they could just bang out a bunch of shows when they have the guests in town. I don't know. I don't know why it's coming to New York. But I've met her a bunch of times, and listen, I don't know her, but I've met her. She's
wonderful.
She's really nice.
I don't think anyone's saying it's about her. The way they said it about Ellen,
but this is wrapping her name in. Like if you truly liked Kelly, you wouldn't slander her name in the public by being like, "Oh, her show sucks," or you know what I'm saying? Like if you worked for her and you truly liked her, you wouldn't say a bad thing about the show because it hurts her at the end of the day.
PAs that have gotten together, just, you know, like, this does suck that we, you know.
Yeah, welcome to show business.
Yeah,
it
like,
sucks
why
sometimes.
do we have to be here all day? Like, why? You know, I mean, I think that's probably it. I don't think, and I know other people that work on the show that are, like, totally pleasant people that are producers. So I'm like, yeah.
Do you think the Ellen was legit?
I do think the Ellen was legit because of things that I've heard. And I do think it trickled down from the top. And, but at the same time, like, yeah, if that's... If Ellen was a man, would she have gotten as much backlash? I think if Ellen's persona wasn't be kind, you know what I mean? Like, if it kind of goes with your thing, like that you like...
That's your
that you're sort of a bitch or whatever, then you're like, oh, okay, yeah, it's not totally a shock that, like, whatever, this guy being kind of a dick, like, I'll do it live, whatever that, remember that thing? Like, I think that, like, you're like, I'm not shocked by that, you know, but someone that's just all, like, just be kind and dances and stuff. But when she said, I don't even like dancing, and I don't like it when people come up to me and say dance, like a little monkey, she's like, I don't like that anymore. I'm like, yeah, she got into a place where she, you know, couldn't really be the real her. And I don't think like Ellen's like a bad person, but yeah, I heard weird stories about.
I heard weird.
I heard weird, like, and I also thought the whole pranking thing was weird. I think people that want to scare people, and prank them, I think that's like a mean thing. And I think it's also real lowbrow, but also it's lazy. If someone brought it up and they thought this was their carpool karaoke. But like if you're seriously like afraid of frogs and then someone like throws a frog at you, like that's just like fucked. And you're like on the set and everyone had to go along with it to have like a viral moment for you. And I'm the guest and I saw in the paper and now this has to be on. Like, it's like when you think about it, it's like a weird.
So I've heard both sides. So like, you know, I would hear from people that work there like, oh, I can't look her in the eye. Like when she walks through the hallways, I'm not allowed to look her in the eye. And then I heard from other people, there's a reason for that. And the reason is she gets very nervous before every show. And she would be all in her own head and like overthinking going out there and being in front of people. And so it wasn't necessarily a rude thing. Don't look me in the eyes because I'm a big celebrity and I can't look at you. It was don't look me in the eyes because I'm so nervous. I don't want to have to necessarily talk to someone and devote my energy to having a conversation before going out and being on national television. So I feel like there's both sides of that story.
Is really good info. Because as a performer myself, and especially, and I've talked about this with the amount of people that are like telling on stars, like TikTok or whatever, you know, or Dumois. Like I literally just did a fake post over the weekend.
Is this the dog?
The dog, yeah. And people actually thought it was real because that is how ridiculous it is. And I wrote a fake Dumois and I let Dumois know. I'm like, hope this is okay. And she's like, it's funny, you know, where it was like, I saw Heather McDonald at the Vanderpump Dog Gala and the person she was with was so rude. First of all, it was on a leash and it wouldn't look us in the eye. Rudest dog ever. And then the email was ravenisabitch@gmail.com. And like half the people were like, this is funny. And the other half people are like, you know, you can't help it if your dog's rude. Like, this person's a bitch. Because that's the kind of stuff. Like, I'm like, and I've said it before, like, you know, when you go out in public and you're a public person, I'm constantly... You know, or even when my kids are like joking with me and being like rude, I'm like, if someone sees that, they're going to say Heather McDonald's raising rude boys. And like, you know, I always joke where the kids go, where in the pouring rain, I will return my shopping cart. Because I'm like, if someone sees me not returning my shopping cart,
it's going to be a story.
And they're going to do a story about it. And like, it's just like a scary thing. So yeah, when you are performing too, like even there was a Real Housewife where Luann was just starting her cabaret act and the girls all came and she has this tiny dressing room and they're coming before and she was a little bit like, okay, like, all right, girls, like go. And, you know, the producers talk about how rude she was. Why would she invite us if she didn't want us in there before and da-da-da. And I'm like, oh, my God, you guys, she's about to do an hour-and-a-half-long show.
She doesn't want to talk to you.
Yeah, like, and no matter how experienced you are, some people are cool before. Other people are like, I just can't, let me do the best job. So I actually think that's really good.
Yeah.
What about that she is like, as soon as the show's over, she's out the door right away?
But that was because of a stalker. That was a stalker situation.
I don't blame that either. When I worked on a talk show with my boss in the beginning, your parents came and she'd want to say hi to your parents and stuff. And then after a while, when people would be like, oh, can't we meet, Chelsea? And I'd be like, no, I'm not even fucking asking her.
Yeah.
She doesn't want to meet your parents. I mean, she was always really nice if she met the parents. I'm not saying she wasn't. But I'm like, yeah, you're doing like all these shows and you know the show is done and you're the star. And yeah, maybe you want to leave. That doesn't make you like
a bad person,
a shitty person.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, when you finish your job at Nordstrom's, do you want to stay an extra hour and a half and like talk to the customers that are waiting to get their car and be like, I just want to know, like, how was your experience?
And keep in mind, she would have to drive out. She would have to drive out the front gate where the entire audience was coming out and crossing the street. So everyone would have seen her leaving. So if they'd hold the audience in, have her leave before they release them, she gets kind of a clean exit. And she did have a lot of stalker issues back in the day. And I think that played a part of it. She was like, I need to get out of here. I don't need to be around.
I just think when you've done something for that many years, like whatever, you have what you need to like make it okay.
Mm-hmm. By the way, I was going to ask you.
But also, she never had me on her show, so fuck her.
Do you ever have the stress over tipping at a restaurant? Because people know you, they recognize you.
We just talked about the iPad
Oh,
tipping.
yeah.
So we were going through Starbucks, and now that these Starbucks people know me because it's the same Starbucks I go every time. And I get my latte, which comes out to like $5.42. And do you want to tip $1, $2? So I always tip $1. Technically, that's that's about 20% without taxes. That's pretty generous.
But the story is she tipped $1.
Well, I think $1 is better than nothing. You can say I still think 20% is appropriate for one latte. But I also feel like that extra tipping is what's like keeping places afloat. Mm-hmm. So I do think it's kind of genius, and I think it's one of those things you don't miss as much. I think it's like a genius thing. But again, yes, I always tip, and I always tip well, even if it's awful service.
I got called out once. I went to a Hooters with my buddy from Germany.
Hot.
They don't. they don't really tip in Europe.
Right,
That's not a thing.
right.
So he paid. We left. I didn't realize he didn't tip. The next day, it got pitched into TMZ. Hey, Dax Holt from TMZ was in here. He didn't leave a tip. I had to drive all the way fucking down to Costa Mesa to hand the server $20. I mean, like, thanks for ratting me out, even though I didn't know that happened. So I think it happens all the time, and people get called out even though they had no idea.
Right. Well, it's hard.
By the way, Bethany Frankel, when she had her show,
yeah,
I didn't hear good things about her. And you could say she was rough when she had her show for, was it maybe like 1 year she did it?
Yes.
And that was like, because it was a telepicture show and everyone, but just a lot of people worked and she wasn't really friendly.
Speaking of this, her show going to New York, there were makeup people and stuff from what's her name? Tyra's show.
Oh, yeah.
They moved to New York and they were like, got no warning or whatever. And they're just, by the way, we're going to New York. If you want to move to New York, you can. If not, goodbye.
That could be part of the reason why people are pissed off. Like, hey, we had no warning on this.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, that's what happened to Tucker Carlson. People
But at the same time, it's like, I'm sorry, like whatever, she's under contract and she's the star and everybody else is replaceable. You can't replace Kelly. So if that's what the show's supposed to be, I mean, that's just part of the business.
Yep.
Like, that's
you
just
got to go where she
life.
wants to go.
But yeah. Well, I mean, I was on Bethany's show when it was on, and she was fine. But I did have Jessica Kershaw on, who was her warm-up person, who said she was the rudest thing ever. And I don't think
great. I believe Jessica too.
Yes, of course. I don't think that's surprising. I don't think it's not like she was a stand-up or was an actress or been on a bunch of shows, even like an Ellen, and then, oh my God, she got her show. I mean, with these reality stars, I always say it's very weird because you really didn't work for it. You got on a show and you were suddenly famous, and then these other opportunities come to you. And you got rewarded on the reality show for horrible behavior. You become a star because you flip a table. You become a star, these kind of things. So your bad behavior is what rewards you. And now you're supposed to act, as if
Divine
you're like the
amazing,
gracious person on earth. And like, you're not. Like, why is it even a shock? Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, what do you think is going on with Nick Canon and his 12 kids and like 8 baby mamas? This girl,
is it 8 baby mamas? Or 6?
6 baby mamas.
This girl Bree is obviously very pretty, but she is on Selling Sunset. I've been watching Selling Sunset. I'm going to cover it more on Thursday's show. But she has a little boy named Legendary with Nick Canon, and she defends her relationship. She goes, "This is our family. I don't care that he has these other women. I don't ask for anything from him." However, like, she had some like killer watch that she was like, "Oh, this is my push gift." And the women are like, "Yeah, he just pays us when he wants to pay us anything."
Well, his whole thing is that I don't have a traditional government child support system.
Okay.
That the bank account is all of our bank accounts. So whatever money goes into it, if they need something, they can have it. They just have to ask. So his whole motto is just like, I just make tons of money and they can have it. I'm making it for them.
How does he make so much money? Do you guys know?
Yeah, dude. He's
got 2 hosting shows right now on TV.
He's got a lot more. So he's got The Wild and Out. Then obviously he did all the America's Got Talent stuff. Then
because he owns Wild and Out, maybe.
He does, and the production company does a lot of this. So like The Masked Singer, he hosts that, but then his production company is also behind The Masked Singer.
Is it?
Yep.
Oh, and now that makes more sense because I thought he was just getting a hosting fee, and I was like,
it's not fully hit, but his production company is involved in producing it.
I was like, The Masked Singer, who would care? No one would not. People that love Masked Singer wouldn't suddenly stop if Nick Cannon and his turban wasn't there.
Yeah.
He could be replaced by anybody.
But he's getting back end of that show as well.
But if he is part ownership or something, then that makes real sense.
He's got the Prank Wars, the E-Prank Wars that was on for a little bit. I know he had his talk show. That went away quickly. He's got his podcast, the radio shows. He's literally like he's doing more jobs than Seacrest. So think about that.
Yeah.
And so we all look at Seacrest and we're like, oh my God, he's got a million jobs.
And so for some
he's got
these
10
girls,
times more
I guess
jobs.
they don't care. They're like, I like him. He's nice to me. I want to just be a mom. I don't care that he's monogamous. She says, I don't want to be monogamous. But I don't think that girls ever get together and hang out.
And if you're getting a Lambo, I mean, he just gave her a Lambo the other day, like one of those SUV Lamborghinis. But I thought was funny was Mother's Day comes around. I also think
like the connections too.
Yeah.
Like clearly she gets to be on Selling Sunset, which I mean, she says she gets listings because she's got like billionaire friends and clients. Who knows? It is just really interesting because I'm like, how they don't get jealous of each other, or that one can make money on a TV show like Brie and another one has school-age kids and is probably not making money on her own, but nobody wants for anything.
I feel just bad for the kids because there's no way that you're going to have that personal connection with your father. At the end of the day, he doesn't have time in his life to hang out with every single kid, get to know them, be there for every birthday. He's already busy with work. I feel like it's the kids that really get screwed at the end of the day.
But I guess a lot of women would say, as a single mom, that would be my case anyway. So, like, who cares?
Who cares? And if I'm living in a $3 million house, it is what it is.
Yeah, and I can do my own thing. But it's very, very bizarre.
Did you see that article with the LA Times? He said he has to maintain $100 million lifestyle per year. He makes $100 million a year.
Wow. Okay.
And someone had gone and said, "Oh, I think he pays like $3.9 million in child support."
Okay.
And he goes, "Oh no, it's way more than that." And it's again, it's not the traditional child support. He's just funding everyone's lifestyle constantly, so he ends up paying way more than $4 million a year to all of the baby mamas and their kids and everything that they're doing.
It's such an ego thing. There's a couple thoughts that he's had some illnesses, and that's why he wants to have as many kids as possible in case he needs any kind of operations.
So he's like growing his own stem cells?
Yes.
Yeah, that's funny.
Inside of children. I need a
also,
liver one day.
He's got so many belly buttons.
Many years ago, Kim Kardashian dated him.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember going out to Sola Luna with Kim and Courtney and Khloe and Chris, and she had just been propositioned by him to have his babies. And he was like, "I'm not going to marry you, but I'll get you a house in Hidden Hills and you have my babies." And this is before they even had the show. And I said, "Kim, I don't know what your future holds," because at this time she was just like doing closets and she was like hoping to get like a celebrity closet redo show on the Style Network.
Yeah.
And I said, "But I just think that is such a sellout for yourself. And why would you ever want to just be like someone's baby mom just so you can have like a Hidden Hills house near your mom? Like, where does that leave you? That's going to affect you ever falling in love with someone or like whatever." And at that point, I think she'd already like turned it down, or I don't know. I just remember Chris being like, "Thank you for saying that, because I certainly don't want that." And I just was like, absolutely not. Like, but that was a long time ago. That was before he had the kids with Mariah.
Can you imagine? That would have changed the whole trajectory of the Kim Kardashian.
But so I think he was like thinking of this situation like a long time before. Like, I just want to have women have my babies.
Mm-hmm.
That is wild, though, that's how it goes down. Like, hey, I got this business opportunity for you where I'll fund your life if you have my kid. Like,
yeah.
And
I think that's what he probably met Brie. And that was part of the thing. They were hitting it off. They were dating. And he's like, "Look, I have a bunch of kids and a bunch of ladies, but if you want to have my baby, I will be there for you and financially and whatever. And I'll introduce you to people." And so he probably knew I'm sure he's very close to some Selling Sunset person or the agent that puts together, and was like, "Get your real estate license." But though she said she's had it since 2017, but like, perfect. Like, you can be on this show, and she's good on the show.
You're a pretty girl. You can be on the show.
She's interesting on the show. I mean, the show is a bunch of Barbies selling real estate, but they're barely selling real estate. But this was probably the most interesting thing about the show. I mean, this is the only thing I'm really grabbing.
It's a plot point for them to have in there.
Yeah, it is pretty juicy.
Maybe we'll try to get Nick on the show at one point. Like, you try to tie it all in.
Yeah.
Do you think he has to have sex with them more than once, or like one time, boom, he gets them pregnant?
I mean, I think he's boning a lot, and I think it's probably a little bit of plan. Like, he's probably like, "Take these ovulation tests, call me when and I'll make sure I come over." But he did say in an interview, "I spend the most time with this little one named Onyx," or whatever.
Yeah, that's the youngest, right?
And no, I don't know that she's the youngest. Anyway, he goes, "Because the way it works with the mom, it's just really easy. And she like brings her over to my office. And so I end up seeing her the most, because with that mom, it's the most convenient." But he was honest about it, which I thought was kind of weird and sad in a way.
Well, did you hear the Mother's Day story? This made me laugh because he hand wrote notes to all 6 baby mamas, and it was like thought out and like personalized, and then he sent them to the wrong moms.
Really?
He
oh,
said
that's
and
hilarious.
he was like, I tried to do this really sweet thing, and then somehow sent him to the wrong women, and so they're reading this like heartfelt thing that's about the other mom and not
They're
them.
reading this whole thing.
He's like, so I fucked it up. I just thought that was funny.
I mean, it's like a sister wives-ish kind of. I mean, it's insane.
Yeah.
But and it's like
it works for him. Whatever.
And I guess it works for these people. I guess everybody can see feminism in like their own way, but just for the same reasons I told Kim not to do it, I would never suggest someone do this. I don't care how many Lambos and Rolexes you get. It's not
so true.
Jay-Z and Beyonce bought the most expensive home. It's a $200 million home. Do you have any scoop on this?
In cash.
Can you get us invited?
Can you believe they paid for it in cash?
What are the
I
taxes?
can totally believe they paid it for.
Ridiculous. That's ridiculous. No, you know what I thought, honestly, that's not even about them. I thought the most interesting part, you know who Kurt Rappaport is? The big, huge real estate agent here in LA. He does all the stars' homes. Okay. He was representing the buyer and the seller. Do you know how much money he walked away with? Like just on this deal alone, $12 million. But so this is on record for the most expensive home.
Well, you figure, okay, even if I don't think he got the full 6%. Usually, when you double end it, goes down to 5. So 5 times 2, so he made $10 million.
10. So then, and this house beat out the record for the $177 million house. He represented the buyer and the seller in that house too.
God.
Kurt Rappaport's huge.
I
just found that
deal?
interesting.
Is he married, single, gay, straight?
He's
non-binary.
He's had a wife.
No.
I know that they used to have like a $150 million house down in Malibu, and him and his wife had this killer sick pad. Anyway, I just found that interesting because they didn't say much about the house. Like you see, it's on 8 acres. It's 30,000 square feet, but you don't know how many bedrooms, how many bathrooms. None of those details were released. It's sick though. I mean, beautiful home.
It's a minimalist house. Yeah,
I'd rather have them buy it and enjoy it than someone from like Russia or China buy it and never go into it and just have it be like. I mean, like at least they're going to enjoy their summers with their kids there or whatever.
But this is just a weekend house too.
Yeah,
they still have the main residence in Bel Air. They have a place in Bel Air, Beverly Hills.
Bel Air.
Then they have a place in the Hamptons that's like 20-something million. So
I think they deserve it. She has to go over to Dubai and perform. Her life's not easy.
What I like? I don't know if everyone knows. So this is in Paradise Cove. A lot of people don't know about the trailer park in Paradise Cove, the most expensive trailer park in the world.
It's not a trailer park.
Yes,
it's mobile homes. It's homes that you
have
rent.
Wheels.
No, they're not. They don't have. No, they don't have wheels.
No, you can. Some are, and some are like the ones that they erected there in the property.
Right,
but they're going for like $5 million.
Yeah. And you still can't own the property.
Yeah, you
still
pay
rent the
$5 million for a house that could blow away at some point.
Well, it hasn't yet.
But Matt McConaughey lives there.
I got drunk once at a bar at Tex-Mex.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's still there. Mango margaritas. And I met these guys, and I went back to that trailer park.
Oh, yeah?
And I went into that jacuzzi there.
And?
It's just like a trailer park.
It's
not any nicer than any others, except that it's in Malibu.
It's crazy. Minnie Driver has a place there. Sarah Paulson has a place. I mean, this is like
literally.
Well,
now this was a while ago,
where
so
you
now maybe
go.
it is all amazing.
It's crazy.
All right, let's talk about your friend.
Billy
McFarland. He did the what do you call it? He did the Frye Festival. He went to prison. He's out. Now there's stories that he's not only going to have a Frye Festival 2, he's going to try to make this finally work. Well, this was the thing in the Bahamas that the models all got paid to say that they were going. People went. There was, it wasn't a sushi lunch. It was a bologna sandwich. The pigs weren't even happy being there. The people working there never got paid. There's a couple of documentaries about it. So what is going on with your friend?
I mean, I wouldn't say he's my friend. I saw him last week in New York City. I mean, I'm cool with him. We're acquaintances. What else is he supposed to do? I mean, the guy's got this thing tarnished.
He's famous for it.
So he's famous for it. He can't get another job. So he might as well try to monetize something that he made a mess on. He didn't hurt anybody physically. Did he hurt them financially?
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, it sucks. In my opinion, it was a dumb idea. It was a dumb thing. I think the people who want to go there are idiots as well.
Right.
He meant it, in my opinion, to put together a good music festival. It didn't work out. He should have pulled, he should have put the surrender flag a lot sooner. He didn't. And now he's got to make money. He's in a lot of debt. So what is he supposed to do? He's going to try to monetize it in the best way possible off the Fyre Fest name and make a musical. I'm not going to go see it, but someone would. He's going to try to make another music festival. He's got some backers, and he needs a better team around him. But
I think the musical, I'd be shocked to see if that actually came to fruition. I don't think there's enough there.
I hate musicals, so I wouldn't watch it anyway. Screw that.
Yeah.
I hate musicals.
I just don't think like there's once you get the joke, like the jokes or what are the songs about, I don't want this bologna sandwich. Like, I don't know.
It's not gonna make me laugh. It's not gonna be funny.
I can't imagine that someone's actually like, can I get a high C? Trying to think of songs and like that seems so lame. But trying to do another, I could see that working.
I actually can see it working to the magnitude of what it was supposed to be originally. No, but. Again, the guy owes, I think, 30-something million? So he's got to make that money back. He is making money on the side where people are hiring him just to pick his brain. Because at the end of the day...
What about cameo? Has he thought about doing some cameos?
He's probably doing some cameos. But I'll tell you what, I've seen him in New York City.
A lot of cameos.
I've seen him in New York City, and it's kind of wild to see where people, hate him. Like, he'll walk around the street, people could just be like, douchebag or piece of shit, and, they'll say something to him, and it's like...
God, really? I don't think he's that recognizable.
He's a big guy.
All right.
Yeah, he's in New York, at least, he's pretty recognizable. He lives in Brooklyn.
I feel like people would want to go to Fyre Fest, too, just to take the photo, to be there, to be like, oh, I survived Fyre Fest, too. I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like there's...
No, I think it's
an Instagrammable moment.
That has a chance. The musical, I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah.
Musical's dumb.
That's tough.
So here we go.
That was the guy I was with. Yeah, I was with that guy.
All right.
He's a character in himself. That's funny. I didn't know he was a real person.
Guys, tell everybody where they can get more Hollywood Raw fun from the two of you.
Well, wherever you download your podcast, search Hollywood Raw. We are there. We also have a YouTube page and TikTok and normal social media stuff. But, I think why people like our podcast is just because it's giving them the raw inside scoop of what it's like to talk to paparazzi and media moguls and these random people and kind of pull back the curtain of Hollywood. That's kind of I feel like our niche right now in this industry.
Yeah, we talk to people like the bodyguards, the paparazzi, because I feel like so many times another podcast you hear some person who doesn't have an egg involved. They're not. Right. They're just an opinion. Where we're going to talk to the people like the paparazzi who are actually follling Meghan and Harry. We'll talk to those people. We're not talking to reporters. I myself, I'm still in the streets running around with my camera, so I know firsthand what it's like, and I know firsthand it's a wild situation, but it's always hearing it third hand where we could talk directly to the source. So we like to say, which is the corny term, we humanize Hollywood, but it's a fun, just talk about my experiences, Dax's experience, our guest experiences from meeting some of the interesting people. Last week was it 2 weeks? I was with Oprah. Mm-hmm. And break that down how.
Wait, Oprah's on Hollywood Raw.
Yeah, she was on Hollywood Raw. No, she was. She was on Hollywood Raw.
Call in. But...
She didn't call in. But I was literally
what do you mean?
So I was doing the podcast for this one day. It was really busy in New York, and this past month's been crazy for me. And again, I'm an active journalist running around the streets of New York City on my camera. We're doing a podcast in the car. Who do I see? I see Oprah. So I ran out of my car and I interviewed Oprah real quick, and I jumped back on the podcast. We used that interview and put it on the podcast.
What did you ask her?
I mean, Oprah's very cool.
Yeah?
She's you want to say?
And by the way, she loves Adam. She
Well, what
calls
did you
him
say?
out.
No, I said Oprah. what did I ask her? I said shit. What did I ask her? I've interviewed so many people, but it's I don't know. I asked what have you done? You've done everything, but what else? What do you want to do? Who's the most? What's the coolest dinner you ever sat at? The one where you looked around the table.
Jeffrey Epstein.
No, that'd been great. Imagine how great would that be? Oh my God! Jeffrey Epstein, Bill Gates, and
and Obama.
Yeah. Oh no, she was. It was all the divas. It was but it was just so we take that interview and put it. But it's just it's the fun part of that type of stuff. It's these raw interviews for me. I mean.
And then I've just had years in the entertainment industry working for TMZ and all these things. So I feel like we bring a different angle that some people don't have in this industry.
Yeah, cool.
So it's fun.
Well, thanks, you guys.
And we've had you on, and we're going to have to have you back on.
Yes, absolutely. Thanks for coming by. Thanks, everyone.